been made in Canadian basketball.
One hand down, all over the defense.
One-hand cockback.
Oh! Bringing the fans to their feet, putting a man in the rim.
Ain't that awesome? Oh my Lord!
Welcome to the NPA on NPH.
Game 2, day 1. The battle in the Capitol, the first session of the NPA season. An unbelievable first game between RNS. And we just have the officials right now going over top of the FIBA regulated undergarment rules. And this is Notre Dame out of Wilcox, Saskatchewan. And on the other side, Halifax Prep. Undermanned, have 8 players out with their squad. Immediately the winners of the best jerseys in the NPA is Halifax Prep.
1, 2, 3.
Halifax Prep, the most recent addition to the NPA.
You set the period to one guy.
Putting on for Nova Scotia.
Great threads.
I would agree.
The historic bridge for the H in the Halifax. Brendan Muntu out of Calgary playing for Halifax Prep, wearing number 7, taking the tip.
Another one of those players that discovered on the, sorry to boast, but on the showcase circuit. That's where you get discovered.
You should be sorry for interrupting, not for boasting. But Muntu out there with the new style that we've seen across basketball on every level. The short shorts are back, folks. And he's tipping it up against Jashawn Henry. Henry elevates, but it's Prep that comes out with the ball. Another name you're going to hear an awful lot, Jaron Johnson. Pull up, Johnson. Dave Falarin, he did again. We'll have this offense going for Notre Dame. Gets into the lane early. Offensive rebound. Cole Newkirk cleaning up the mess.
And this game, I don't think is going to end up being a pretty one. The depth, the size, the length, the athleticism of Notre Dame will eventually take a toll on Halifax Prep. Now, these guards got to try to utilize their speed as much as possible. I'm talking about Halifax now. They looks like they're going to try to pressure for a majority of the game as well, and this is not one of those teams I think is going to work on. Definitely a travel there. He moved his feet. Unforced turnover that time for the Notre Dame Hounds. Carter Kahinka shuffling his feet on the catch.
Cairo Berry with the rock. Over in the corner. These Hounds are hungry. Been beating up each other in practice. Have been beating up on BC Christian Prep in that Northwest Division. And now they are ready to be unleashed on the rest of the NPA.
And look at Fofo locking up.
No good. Nice little steal. The diminutive Cairo Berry coming in for the steal. Cairo Berry. Muntu comes over to help up his opponent. Cairo Berry, he's got the eyes on him right now. I think he's heard a lot about this a day Falar and a date again. And he ain't gonna back down, and neither is the big man with range, Carter Kahinka, cashing in from the downtown district. There's Brendan Muntu, rebound and putback.
And that'll be their leading scorer, Muntu out of Calgary.
Ooh, no look pass. Big time finish, Cole Newkirk, and a shiny dime.
There's a steal, Jashawn Henry, one of the Hounds leaders.
Hey, go back here. Oh, yeah!
Muntu, good lead pass the other way.
Henry bringing the ball up. Gets to the baseline. Can't get it to go. Some contact, but no call. Barry. Back up top, Jaron Johnson downtown, back rim and out. Sean Henry pulls down the defensive rebound once again. Back up to his boy, Fofo with the rock.
And these Savages have been training all summer long, 2-a-days, 3-a-days on some occasions.
Way short there for Kahinka.
Block number 4. What's up? Hey, Red, wait next time when he called in, please. Sure. Here. Hold up, bro. Yeah, thank you. All right, in play. Go, guys.
There's Johnson attacking the rim that time. 2 Hounds sandwich him and he'll get to the line for 2.
Ref, who was the foul on again?
Fresh off the bench. Ty McDanham checking in. Notre Dame out to an early 7-2 lead. No good. Sholayak is just checked in for Notre Dame.
One of the more athletic pieces in this league. Off the mark, way off the mark. Airballs it on that one.
Got it ahead. Ty is good off glass.
Ty is a young buck, man, but he's got some skill. That's a small forward. Long term, I see him as a small forward. Got good length. The blow by that time. Fofo on the 3.
Ooh, that was pure.
That's what he's been working on all summer long.
Didn't have that last year.
Yeah, and you mentioned it. You said pure stroke right away. And the form, the technique has really cleaned up for Fofo.
Answer on the other end, Ryan Toney out of Cape Breton. Notre Dame just whipping that rock around. Henry got a little of the shakes early on. Kahinka inbounding.
And the Hounds have actually shot 3 air balls already as a team. Not sure what's going on with them to start this game.
Farthest travel they've had to play a game this year. Muntu. Wide open jumper. Ain't gonna miss that, Jared Johnson. Ayak to Kahinka. Back up top. Kahinka gets into the lane, drops it off to Henry, inviting the contact. That's what we asked to see from him in the Nationals last year. Just go up strong, because he was bigger than everybody back then, it seemed like. And I asked if he put on weight. He said no, he'd actually trimmed down and lost weight. But that's a lot of good muscle he put on. Jaron Johnson getting it going. Timeout early for the Hounds. Stay tuned, we'll be back. Halifax Prep, not impressed with what they're seeing so far.
Everyone has their story. What's yours? Were you born with the ball in your hands? Or were you a late bloomer? Are you a dead-eye shooter? Or a high flyer?
Nose up and alley-oop! All elbow! Williams!
Are you a leader? Or an elite role player? North Pole Hoops wants to know, what's your story?
Back here in the first quarter, Halifax Prep picking up their first lead of the game, 13-12, and that's at the hands of Jaron Johnson, who's made a couple triples and seems very locked in this game.
Little sideline reporting there as Fofo finishes through contact. Little sideline reporting for you here. Fofo with the putback. I was in on that huddle there, and head coach Adam Huffman just said, you are disrespecting this team. You're disrespecting your opponents. You're not giving them the respect that they deserve, and that's why it is such a close game in the early going here. And out of that timeout, we see Fofo with 4 quick points, and then Jashawn trying to go to work down low.
And he could do that all day if he wants to. He could live in the paint in this game. Ain't nobody going to rebound above him or even try to seal him out. That's a strong body.
Much like RNS did early on in their game against BC Christian, Halifax Prep really bringing it. With only 8 bodies on this roster, you have to wonder how much gas they have in that tank, but as of right now, they are hanging down just 5. Just as I say that, it's Avery Hutchison coming up with the loose ball. You want to talk about a good timeout by Coach Adam Huffman, that was it. Because out of that timeout, his team has scored 7 quick points. And suddenly the Hounds are up 20-13.
And the full court pressure is going to be a big factor in this game. They've applied it early on now, and Halifax is going to look to make some adjustments very quickly. Now, with the length of Adafalora and Dogan, otherwise, again, known as Fofo.
Just go with Fofo.
Yeah, we'll go with Fofo. I think the viewership is very familiar with him now at this point as well. He automatically takes away so many angles with that 6'9", ridiculous 6'9" wingspan for a kid who's only 6'1". At the PG spot. He's already got himself 3 rebounds in the game. He's tipped and blocked a shot, and he's cleaning up around the hoop. You saw him on that Greg Went miss coming up with the one-handed left while he's in the air. And energy, it's all Fofo, man. He brings so much to the table.
He's had that energy since the warm-ups. He was the one screaming out on every missed layup.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right. And this weekend, as a matter of fact, both Princeton and Columbia, Ivy League schools will be in attendance checking out Mr. Fofo.
If you're wondering where the nickname came from the best possible source, his mom. Avery Hutchison again has been solid from the beginning. And a steal from Aditigan, but sent back by Tony.
And this
Ryan
is
Tony was there for the block.
Jay, this is going to get out of hand quite quickly. Maybe even before the first quarter is over.
You're disrespecting the opponent.
I am. I am, and I don't mean to say it that way. It's just when something is obvious to me, I have a hard time censoring it or putting a filter on it. I'm sorry. But this is a team that I'm talking about as a national contender. This is a team that I'm talking about could win the entire NPA second season. And they're going up against a team that's very young, that's undersized, that's experiencing their first season in the league. This is a little bit of a shell shock to this squad.
Deshaun Henry at the line shooting 2. Both he and a Dave Falar and a date again. 2-a-days all summer long. And these are two very close friends that have enjoyed this path that they've been able to take together. Henry really seemed to have rushed both those free throws. But they push the lead up to 10. Little full court pressure now. Halifax Prep breaks it. Second pass deflected out of bounds. Sholayak was trying to hunt that one down before.
I'd like to see Ryan Toney on that one. Just be a little more patient. I understand he wants to get the ball up the floor, get it across half, but you gotta throw in a fake, throw off the momentum of the defense in that scenario.
A little incidental contact right there. Foul called. On to Sean Henry.
Avery Hutchinson, number 4 in the red, has been quite a pleasant surprise for the Notre Dame Hounds. A new addition to the squad, and can alleviate a little bit of pressure, can score around the hoop, can make some threes. He adds to the depth on this team. And these Hounds are getting hype.
Hounds are getting after it.
Got Julius McGee checking in for Cairo Berry here. Julius, a very strong ball handler, and will be able to protect it and create some offense for his teammates. Mishandles it on that one.
That was Sholayak slapping it out of bounds off of McGee. Hounds get it back. Henry. Handoff. It's the 4th air ball of this first half for the Hounds, and they're still up 10.
These guys are just rushing their shots. They're better than what they're showing. It doesn't have to be a catch and shoot right away. There's McGee.
Nice look, no finish.
And again, McGee's one of those ball handlers who's really going to help create. He's really going to make it easy to score. You just have to be ready to receive that pass.
14 on the shot clock, 3:43 to go in this opening quarter.
And we haven't seen Brendan Muntu back in the game yet.
Oh, here we go. Ayak up top. Oh, just Sean Henry. Instant elevation. You could tell he was upset at the missed alley-oop, so he came home and crushed it with 2 to be safe. You can tell these guys are hungry to be playing right now.
Oh, absolutely. This is a warm-up for them.
Ayak to Henry. Another nice finish.
And I'm not going to use this as a measuring stick for the Hounds. I would like to see them play against some higher-seeded teams. SJK will give them a little bit of a better matchup. And then London basketball is another young team. It really won't be until they play Crestwood on day 4, which is the 25th. That is a Saturday, this Saturday. If you're chilling, hanging out on the weekend, make sure you tune in. We will be live streaming every single game of Session 1.
24 games over 5 days, 12 teams from coast to coast across Canada. Day 1 with a little East versus West flavor. You've already seen BC Christian Prep take a 66-61 win over a very game Ross St. Netherwood. And now you're seeing Notre Dame out of Wilcox, Saskatchewan taking on Halifax Prep. Henry, no good. Offensive rebound. Oh, Sholayak.
Took off a little soon.
Trying to give us our first poster of the session. Kick out. What type of arc you see on that Ryan Toney shot. Transition 3, no good. Offensive rebound, Hutchison. Lots of steps there.
Too much. Too much. Too early.
Foul called. Xavier Scott took a shot to the head. .152 to go. 13-point lead. You know, still got over a minute 50 to go. And the Hounds have already put up 28 points.
And this is Halifax Prep. First game tomorrow morning, or sorry, tomorrow afternoon at 12:30. That'll be the first game of the day, and they'll take on GTA Prep. That is not going to be a sight that they want to see when they see Casey Izagu at 6'10" with strength and mobility and athleticism. And then you got 6'7", #1 player in the 2019 Canadian class, AJ Lawson. Already on NBA radar, already with NCAA offers on the table. A sight to see.
16 or 15? 16. So 27-16 should be on the scoreboard there.
Still checking the clock. 11-point lead, Notre Dame. Cairo Berry, back out top, Julius McGee. Tony, spin into the lane, Sholiak there to cut him off. McGee, pull up, 3. Ooh, didn't hear him call bank, but we'll give it to him.
It is after 8, and most banks I know are closed. I don't think there's any 24
Everyone does
hours.
online banking now and all the time now.
Okay, we'll take it.
Right?
We'll take it.
24/7, the bank's open now. Pull up. I'll tell you, this Halifax Prep squad is not shy. Ayak ahead. Fofo up top. Hutchison. Sorry. Xavier Scott with a miss, an offensive rebound. Travel called. Keysandre Smith checking in for the first time today.
That's a young buck. Lacks a lot of experience. We'll see what he could do on the floor.
Trial by fire. Ooh, the Hounds fell asleep. Fofo tried to recover. I love hearing the conversations on the sidelines, and Adam Huffman is a special coach. Before this game, I was doing sit-down interviews with Coach Huff, Ade Falarin, Ade again, and Jashawn Henry. And you could tell the relationship between all three of them is very special. And that was a perfect example. Fofo fell asleep on the defensive end there and then ended up picking a foul, went to his coach and said, I had to take the foul. And he said, you had to take the foul? Or you fell asleep on the defensive end. And Fofo immediately agreed with him.
Yeah, he doesn't let him slip on anything. There's a high sense of accountability, and that's something that's needed on every team. You know, if each player can hold themselves accountable, then the team can as a whole.
And I mean, it's no secret who, you know, the two stars of this team are. And I mean, they have a great supporting cast. They need that supporting cast. But if you can hold, and it was actually Coach Kevin Jeffers who said this, if you hold your best player by the scruff of the neck and can get into him, every other player on that squad knows that they can't slip.
100%, 100%. And we've seen Coach KJ do that on several occasions over the years and demand respect from his guys. And when you've won as many championships as he's won at an elite level, then you have the right to do that.
Man, if Notre Dame had hit their free throws, they would have probably near 40 points at this point. Cole Newkirk misses them both. Offensive rebound. Another guy that they brought in with some size, Landon Dickey out of Wolseley, Saskatchewan. That prairie strength.
That's what I like about this team. It's not like they're going out of town to recruit here. Most of the guys on this squad are from the province of Saskatchewan. Saskatchewan just over 1 million people in population compared to Ontario that has 13 million. Yet, look at this squad. A lot of next level players
that have to travel a long way to be able to find competition they need.
That's right.
Good non-call there. That was just a slip. Ooh, in the open floor, Fofo down low. Offensive foul. You're talking about recruiting close by. Estevan, Saskatchewan, Regina, Saskatchewan, Saskatoon, Wolseley, Lloydminster. Sprinkled in with a little bit of Calgary and Winnipeg. And same with this Halifax prep squad. Nice move to the lane. Ryan Toney not shy. I guess when you only have 8 on the squad for this session, everyone's got a green light.
And Halifax prep is battling back, showing that East Coast toughness, and they are right in this game. It's 29-24, 2 seconds to go here in the first quarter.
And you just figure it's going to be down the stretch. But we got 2.8 seconds left on the clock. Let's see what Notre Dame can do. Inbound to Sean Henry, pull up. No good. 29-24. Notre Dame Hounds out of Wilcox, Saskatchewan with the lead. Stay tuned for second quarter action.
Rothsay Netherwood, better known as RNS, will enter its second season in the National Preparatory Association. Head coach Damien Gay will need leadership from his 4 seniors in order to continue to build on the program's solid foundation, which now has some added pieces to it. NCAA prospect Shaheem Malcolm made the move from Toronto to New Brunswick, and the lengthy guard is sure to make a splash in his new home. While Canadian national champion Kellen Tynes continues to earn high praise as the highest level prospect out of Canada's East Coast since fellow guard and Dartmouth native Lindell Wigginton. Halifax Prep out of Nova Scotia is following in the footsteps of their maritime brethren RNS as they enter their first season in the NPA. They will be led by standout point guard Cairo Berry, who is expected to log heavy minutes as the engine of this team on both ends of the floor. Like any expansion team, growing pains are to be expected, but there is no better experience than being thrown into the NPA fire. The St. Laurent Express has a storied basketball history that they're looking to bring to the NPA. The next wave of Quebec talent includes Ben Datro, who can score in bunches from every spot of the floor and is always a threat to simply take over a game.
Halifax Prep is hanging tough with the Notre Dame Hounds. Much respect. But you figure, I mean, you have teams traveling from the East Coast to the nation's capital. They're not going to lay down for anyone.
Yeah, there's a lot invested here and a lot on the line.
Just Sean Henry. They saw the mismatch. He took advantage, just couldn't finish. Fofo has it stolen. Halifax Prep on the open floor. Oh, with the putback. Cairo Berry, listed at 5'9". All hard on that kid. Man, Cholayak, you just see flashes that if he could put it all together, that athleticism, that quick first step.
Yeah. Yeah, Scholl's an interesting one, man. We've seen him. We just need to see consistency out of him.
Tough shot.
One too many air balls for my liking in this game. Guys are just rushing their shots, not getting their feet set. Not that time, though.
Cholayak. Pure butter from downtown Ottawa. That's how the locals say Ottawa.
I did not know that, and nor do I wish to say it like that.
Stick with me this weekend. I'll educate you some. Iac heard you talking about the air balls and just stopped on a dime.
Swish.
Ripped some twine. McGee. Bergnaham. Nope. Ooh.
And if these Halifax prep guys are going to have a chance at getting better looks and cleaner shots, they really got to get a guy in the high post. Somebody, it doesn't have to be a center. It just has to be somebody that can catch the ball. Attract the defense, get them to collapse just for a second. Get the defense to zone in on them and then be able to swing back out and get it around the horn.
And there's another air ball. Good thing we're not keeping track of those. Smart move by Fofo, allowing Muntu to slip past, but off balance, couldn't get it to go. Cholayak, back-to-back air balls, and you were talking about the consistency. Stopped on a dime, nothing but net, followed it up with back-to-back air balls from the exact same spot on the floor. And I guess the scorekeepers aren't keeping track of air balls because we just heard from the left side. How many air balls is that? I think we're up to about 7. But you have to, at the same time, these two teams, they both traveled in, right? They're both in a brand new gym. I'm getting the eye from Elias. He's not buying it, so I'm just going to continue calling the game. Muntu from downtown.
Okay, I'll give him some slack for that. You know, fair enough, fair enough. But look, we're not letting this stuff slide tomorrow.
No, it's the scout coming out in you. I get it. Don't worry about it.
We're not letting this stuff slide tomorrow. They got enough of a warm-up.
Ooh. Nice little move. You gotta, and maybe it has to do with the small roster. Maybe it has to do with the fact that they don't have an awful lot of size. It really seems like everyone on this Halifax prep squad can handle the rock.
They can, and a lot of them at the next level are gonna be playing point guard or shooting guard.
George, I need you to pay attention. If it's white fives, offensive foul. Hey! 32, get back into it. Hey!
The official getting after the scorekeepers. Sean Henry saw the C's open up. Easy basket for him, looking for the foul call.
And he's getting called on some soft ones, but he's not getting them back on the other end.
Bergnaham almost lost it. They're not getting him, allowing him to get away with the travel. Hey man, I like what I see from the Halifax prep squad so far. Their game. It would just be interesting to see what they can do in this second half with the short bench.
Full boards.
Diaz-Legrone checks in. Hutchison now running the point. Fofo getting his first rest of the game over there on the bench.
Cole Nuker grabs his own rebound and his own finish right at the rim.
Nice size on that kid, Cole Newkirk.
And he's a project piece, man. He's gonna come at the U Sport level. He can come in and play right away, be immediately effective. If he wishes to be an NCAA prospect, another year will do him justice. Maybe at the junior college level.
What an ugly play that was for the Hounds.
You're not standing out here. I just said give me a board.
Newkirk going to the line, shooting 2. 12-point lead for the Hounds. First half has not gone the way that we expected to see. If the Hounds would have hit, if they would have connected on even half of their air balls, it would be more into the position that we would expect. Halifax prep playing with a lot of heart and showing us a lot of skill as well. This team has been putting in work.
If they can remain to be patient in the half-court set with their offense and just keep the ball moving, keep cutting through and getting the defense to move. There's Jaron Johnson, lines up, no good.
Definitely good in transition. I mean, not a lot of dribbling. 1-2 passes, and they're into that front court ready to go.
Carter Kahinka picks up an unnecessary foul. Much longer, much bigger than the offensive man there. Pushes him before grabbing that rebound.
McGee. Sean Henry got a hand on it. Cairo Berry. Ooh, a little pull-up jumper. No good. He can get up for a little man. Lots of elevation on that jumper. Stepped out of bounds. My time at the Candid camp this past summer, a lot of talk about the foot dropping back.
Negative steps.
Negative steps, especially three-point line, especially on the sideline, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And you see it all the time.
And that's why guys gotta know what they're doing before they even catch the ball. If you know that you're gonna shoot, well, have your feet set. Be in a low athletic stance already, ready to catch and go up right away.
Because there's no reason to take a negative step in that spot on the floor.
Absolutely.
It just drives coaches mad. And it can, like, imagine stepping out of bounds like that with 5 seconds left on the clock and your team down 1.
Oh, I've seen it, man. I've seen it. And those are the type of plays you won't want to live with as a player. And Jaron Johnson has been a real bright spot for this Halifax prep team. He's finding guys in the right spots, hitting them right on target. Again, it's another situation where he might be a little advanced for the personnel that is surrounding him.
Nice head and shoulder fake, Hutchison, kick back out. Look at just Sean Henry. Like, it's just effortless elevation, right?
He was just floating for a second.
Yeah.
What do you say?
15-point game. Here as the third quarter winds down.
Ooh, nice cuddle on the baseline. Jaron Johnson off glass plus the foul. Halifax prep ain't scared.
It's a right score.
And reminder to everybody in the area, we're at Notre Dame High School here, 710 Broadview Avenue, Ottawa, Ontario. $10 for a day of basketball. Tomorrow you got 5 games starting at 12:30. High level from across the country. Sean Henry starting to warm up, folks. Fakes baseline, comes back, easy two. Now he's D'ing up on Brendan Muntu. Air ball. Back the other way. Calling for it on the other side is Henry. All alone for the offensive rebound. Skying for it. Whoa.
That is some man strength right there.
I think Sean Henry's hit the gym this summer, folks.
He took the ball and the body, lifted him up. I think the defender for Halifax Prep there is like, what's going on here? How am I in midair?
Ooh, missed a wide open Logan Rousson down low. And the Hounds are on the hunt. 10 on the shot clock. You know, Halifax Prep has found a soft spot on that Notre Dame defense along the baseline there. A couple different times they've been able to slide along untouched. Nice move, nice pass, nice finish. Wyatt Hope.
But Wyatt's one of those workhorses, man. He's not, you know, he's not tremendously skilled, but he is an absolute workhorse. Gets up and down the floor, defends, rebounds, plays good help side.
Time out, time out.
Coach Adam Huffman with the timeout. 49-33, the Hounds still have 3:18 to go, and they're almost at the 50-point mark. Stay with us. We'll be back.
While the man in the middle for St. Lo goes by the name of Trayvon Minot. Armed with the hard work mentality needed to clean up the mess in the paint, Minot also has the skill and soft touch to get buckets on his own. The Express boasts a roster full of high-character type players that are needed to vie for a national title, and they all have that same chip on their shoulder that Quebec ballers do. Everyone needs to respect the Q. The team to beat out of the Northeast Division is the same squad the entire NPA is gunning for. Canada Top Flight Academy is the reigning, defending, and first ever high school aged national basketball champions in Canadian basketball history. Much of the same team returns to the floor this season, including a more physically mature Moon Reith, who is now a matchup nightmare, standing at 6'7" with the guard skills of a much smaller player. It will take a special squad to knock the crown off the kings of the National Preparatory Association.
Scouting away.
3:18 to go here in the second quarter. Ade Falar and Ade again back on the floor for the Hounds, playing off the ball. Just bringing up the two-guard spot with Avery Hutchinson running the point.
And this is where Halifax is going to try to make up for the half-court stuff. They got to try to beat them in transition. Beat them off of that defensive board and try to push the ball up the floor.
You know, it hasn't been pretty at times. We've been making jokes about the air balls. Ooh, Brandon Muntu just picked up a tech.
You
know, I was asked about coming up here for the weekend and what I was most excited about. And I like, you know, the stories that we can tell within the NPA. I was mentioning the feature interviews I was doing before this, but it's the excitement of the players, right? It's getting here and seeing how excited the players are to be able to take on players from across Canada.
Right.
And it's that kind of fiery, that excitement, which we've seen kind of boil over. We've had 3 techs through 2 games, but it comes from a good place. You know, these aren't people arguing and swearing, and you know what I mean. It comes. It's everyone's fired up for this.
It's just intensity. Yeah, it's part of the game.
Yep. I'm just glad this isn't soccer and we don't carry cards over to the next game. Wyatt Howarth again. Nice little 2 in the lane. You were talking about it, man. This team is a lot deeper. Ooh. We're going to see some highlights from this Halifax prep squad. Cairo Berry going behind the back, a no-look dish.
They're really good at setting each other up.
Just
it's the finish. It's the execution.
I know.
A lot of ball watching, and that's where that comes from, right? You got to be expecting. You know that all these guys can create, so you got to be expecting that pass is coming.
Ooh,
Fofo muscles his way.
Gets to the baseline, but gets his own. You know, he's averaging a near triple-double through 5 games, both NPA and non-NPA this season. And I say this, I guess it's stat stuffing. It's not stat padding, it's stat stuffing, and that's what Fofo does. Rebounds, assists, gets after it defensively.
He's just such a terrific kid too. He's an excellent teammate. Like, his intangibles are just so transferable to the next level, and they have a great effect on the team, especially when you're, if you're a tournament team and you're down in crunch. He's one of those kids that'll keep everybody in check.
And it was funny, both he and his coach stepping in for the charge there is Avery Hutchinson. Both Fofo and his coach interviewed separately said the same thing, what the big difference was, and it was like the basketball IQ, the reading the play, reading the second layer of the defense. That's right. And they both agreed that that was where his strength was coming off this summer. Because both, we expected Notre Dame to be solid last year as well. And by the time the Nationals hit, Another nice move, Avery Hutchinson off the ball.
Avery's been impressive in this game, and he's going to be a huge help for them, relieve a little bit of pressure off of Fofo.
But it just seemed like this team ran out of gas in the Nationals last year.
They did. They clearly did not have the depth last year.
Another charge. Look at the Hounds getting after it on D. Stepping in.
Even the personality of the team. Everybody's into it from the beginning of the bench to the end. Last year, you had some guys on the bench that felt like they should have been playing, and nowhere near did they deserve any playing time. These guys, they're rooting for each other. They're in it at all times.
And don't look now, but the lead's up to 23. And they're doing this with Jashawn Henry sitting on the bench. Wide open three in the corner. Fofo gets it ahead. Hutchison drops it off. Corner three. Rimming out. Ade Falarin, Ade again, is all over the offensive glass. Get out the Windex. The kid's getting it done. Lead extending for the Hounds. 25 seconds to go in this second quarter. Ooh, pull up.
And I have not seen Fofo come off the floor yet.
No, he was.
He did?
Yep. Because that was when Avery Hutchinson stepped into that point guard
Right.
position.
Just for a minute, yeah.
5 seconds to go. (58-35) at the end of the first half. A 7-minute break. Stay with us. The Hounds pushing out to a 23-point lead. We'll be back with second half action.
Well, Central Tech, it's the historic look, that castle feel. It's a gauntlet. You walk past and you just, whoa, you look up, and the reputation that comes with it, it has that feel, it has that effect. Being in downtown Toronto, it is what it is. You're going to get everything, right? So all the distractions are going to happen. All the excitement's going to be there. Any little thing happens in school, it's newsworthy because you're a downtown school, right? So we have to get past all those distractions and focus in and dial in what we're supposed to do inside this gym. Do we play with a chip? We make it so.
We're a grit and grind team. We're like underdogs. So we play even though we're up 20, we play like we're down 20.
We try to break the neck of the other teams. Once we have our foot on the gas, we try not to let go. If you're a hard worker, if you have nothing to lose, if you're gonna put it all on the line every night, then you could come play on Central Tech.
I'm praying that they take on my personality. I got a smile and I laugh and I joke outside of the game, but inside the game, I'm yelling, I'm screaming, and I'm fierce. And that's how we're developing right now.
Stop relying on what we did in the years past or the games past. It's now, yes?
And when we get to be that tenacious group, that loud group, that aggressive group, great things happen.
That style and structure is making Central Tech a destination basketball school for players like Matthew Daves, who joined the Blues for his senior season.
I knew the coaches and I knew how their style of training was, and I thought that I'd fit in here well. It just brings up a certain tone to how I'm doing everything. So every single rep is more important now. Being Filipino, it's a bit different. People look at me a different way when I'm playing. They're not going to see someone like me, like an Asian person, play the way that I play usually.
How do you play?
I'm in the air a long time, just to say that.
In Season 2 of the National Preparatory Association, Jeffers will look to his returning seniors to lead the team on and off the court, which also prepares them for the next level.
Me being the oldest, it puts a lot of responsibility on my back because coach, he tells me to always watch out for the guys, make sure everyone's good. Because after I leave here, coaches on other schools, they look at the kind of person you are off the court before on the court. They want to know what you could do in school. They want to know what you could do in a group of people if you're going to be communicating. All my friends back home, they really think I've changed a lot, and they said it's for the better too.
Coach Jeffrey is an amazing guy. He taught me a lot because he's been coaching me since young, been watching me play growing up, playing basketball at the community center. And like, he just, you know, just been there for me. It changed me a lot because before I wasn't really doing the stuff that I need to do to go to the next level. Since I came here, I started getting the support, the help that I needed to succeed, school-wise and basketball-wise. He prepares me to be a man.
The good will follow the good, the bad will follow the bad. But if people see the good in you, they're gonna make sure and push you to that stream. Central Tech is labeled. It's no chance that I'm here trying to change that label, try to bring forward a better understanding of who it is and what the school is about.
I wanna fly, can you take me far away? Give me a star to reach for, tell me what it takes, and I'll go so high, my feet won't touch the ground. Just hitch my wings and pull the strings. I bought these dreams that all fall through.
The nice thing about him is he's a basketball player. There is no position defined for him. He's learning the skills. He's learning the skills of playing the 1, 2, 3, 4, guard at all the positions.
The last thing what makes RJ Jr. so special is that he wants to be special. And he's willing to do the work to become special. He's open to learning. He has his flaws like everyone else does, but he recognizes his flaws. He knows to keep working on them. And he's never satisfied even with his own strengths as a basketball player. So that's what makes him special.
Number 7, Rowan Eric Jr.
That's my boy. He never stopped seeking to amaze me. And when we were in the game, like, I could tell what he was gonna do. I was like, you know, he's my boy. I'm gonna just let him, you know, show out. So, but the chemistry's really good. We're roommates right now, everything. So.
I call him a professional scorer. That's definitely going to translate to the NBA game. He's relentless on getting around you and getting to the basket and getting to the foul line. And that's what I respect about him. I'm a huge fan of his.
That's all. Okay, showtime.
RJ making the splash takes his rightful throne at number 1, and I think regardless of class, he would have been there anyways. Maybe even number 1 in North America, let alone the Canadian rankings. Was the leading scorer in the most competitive league in the world at the amateur level. At 6'7", a guy that's playing 2 and 1, that's a deadly combination.
I mean, I think the first thing with RJ is he has goals, right? He has goals that he's set out, that he's driving for. So that's always great, right? Because all you ever really have to do is continue to focus him towards the goals he set. If you're trying to achieve the things that he is, I think that he's a hard worker, he's a consistent worker, and oh, here he comes. Go.
Yes. Yeah. Being number 1 in the world, you know, there's no conversation about it, there's no discussion about it. But what's next for you? What are your goals?
Pretty simple, go to college and go to the NBA and be a star.
Welcome back to Ottawa, Ontario, the battle in the capital. At halftime, 58-32 65 for the Notre Dame Hounds. Could have been a lot worse in that first half. Jason Tom here, and I'm now joined by Chris Dooley, who's here to talk about his book, Can't Miss, the Kevin Pangos story, and I'm sure a lot of you have seen him on social media. I know Chris has been around talking to a bunch of different basketball players, and before we get to the actual book itself, these talks that you go out to do with these teams, what do you use Kevin Pangos' story to try to get across to these kids?
Well, basically what I try to point out is the idea that a growth mindset, that like a lot of these kids are very, very talented, but they're just starting on a path. And if they understand that they should never be satisfied and they're continually looking to grow, they're going to be spectacular. Like watching this Notre Dame team today, like that's just absolutely tremendous. But they got to understand that it's a long road, and just to continue to work at it. So my talk that I do based on the book is I use Kevin's story as an example, because he was never satisfied. Even though he was achieving a lot along the road, he always had a goal of much, much bigger things to happen.
That was Deshaun Henry throwing down the two-handed alley-oop crush and then getting back on D for the block. And you know, it's interesting to talk to you because Kevin was one of the first guys that I had featured when I was working at the Score Television Network, and it was for the same reason. He was a kid who stayed at home, who maybe didn't get the shine that a lot of the other kids were getting down south at the time, but he was able to stay home because he had that ability to grow with his father being a coach. And I know that you were close to his father at a young age, but it seems to be something that can happen more and more in Canada, kids staying home and getting what he needs.
That's right. That's one of the things that the book is about, is the idea that it isn't about Kevin, but it's about everybody around Kevin. You know, the Roy Ranas, the Leo Routens, the people that he had got involved with. So he had a sense of opportunity to go to a prep school in Florida, but he wanted to stay at home, and he knew that he would get enough training with his dad and with Roy and Kyle Julius and all these great coaches that he was surrounded by. So that's why he decided to stay at home. And now you look at it, it's only 7 years later, and the opportunity that these kids have, it's amazing. And I think that's what's going on. It's just that there's options, and these kids are high-level kids. They're still high school boys, but they're tremendously gifted, and if they continue to grow and continue to think about what's bigger out there, they're going to be very, very good.
Another example of that is Deshaun Henry, who's stayed home in his home province, Saskatchewan. Very under-recruited, that province, obviously, the whole prairies in general. And this kid's put in the work, and you see him putting it on display here at this session.
Well, one thing I'd like to point out, just of these two games that I've watched, is a lot of people in the Toronto area, look at the great basketball that's in Toronto, but I'm telling you, there's basketball across this country.
I think the other thing, too, is a lot of kids don't realize sometimes you just have to ask. Sometimes you just have to get a hold of the coach. And, it may not be easy to get a hold of a Roy Rana, but you can get a hold of a high-level coach or a high-level trainer. Sorry, Deshaun Henry is coming out and having himself a third quarter. An alley-oop jam, a block, a nice easy basket, nice assist. But, I mean, a lot of these kids, it's just seeking out. It takes a village to raise a child. And Sholayak sending it back. The Hounds getting it going.
That's a big thing, and one of the things that parents that are out there listening is there's lots of opportunities to talk to coaches who would help you do anything. One of I think the great stories is Jay Tran was recruiting Steve Nash, and he tells him, no, don't come to SFU. You're better than I am. You got to go down south. And that's a good example of somebody that, if we care about the game, if we care about kids, we're going to help them as best we can. And that's one of the things the book does too. Is I'm not here just to flog books, but this is a great story that these kids learn from and the parents could learn from by what Patty and Bill did to help their son grow.
And I mean, in talking to Kevin constantly, I know he has NBA dreams and aspirations, and that's still very much in the cards for him. But I've also said to him that, Kev, there's nothing bad about going over and having an unbelievable professional career, playing in the beautiful places that you get a chance to play. And he's going to be a big part of this national team going forward as well.
Yeah, he's in the pool for that national team pool with And with the different qualification process now, the pool's going to have to be so deep. But yeah, like he played his first year in the Canary Islands in Spain, like hello, and now he's in Lithuania. And I'm not sure if everybody's aware of it, but right now in the Euro League, which is the best league in the world outside the NBA, Kevin is leading the three-point shooting percentage and numbers. Like it's just incredible start to his third pro career.
And an unbelievable teammate, and I mean, he got to take over his now fiance to the Canary Islands and live the life over there, and now he's engaged to her, and they're going to be getting married in the U.S. I mean, for the folks out there who have NBA dreams, like, don't give up those dreams, but also realize this game of basketball can take you all over the world, and the NBA isn't always going to, like, there's only, what, 340 jobs in the NBA, right? There's lots of other places basketball can take you.
Yeah. Absolutely, and one of the title of the book is called Can't Miss, and because Kevin is a can't miss sort of kid. You've worked with him, you've met him, like, and anybody who knows him, like, he'll be successful at whatever he does in life. So he's pumped for continue to go after the NBA, but he's making very, very good money right now in Lithuania, and he's growing as a man, and like he has aspirations for the NBA. But you know, even if he does make the end, one of the lines he said to me is, even if I do make it, how long am I in the NBA, and what do I do after that? You know, it's the family values that are far more important than chasing the carrot that the NBA is to a lot of people.
Well, and I think what a lot of kids, and you have to mature and you have to get older before you realize it, but it really is true. You know, it's not the goal, it's the path to get there, right? And I think that's what Kevin's been done a very good job.
Yeah, one of my chapters in the book is I called it "The Path is the Goal," and it should be. Like you should enjoy it. Like I'll never forget, Kevin had a wide open three against Ohio State in his first. That guy's going nuts in this first season in national television. Wide open three, and he missed it, and they lost to Ohio State. Next day, I talked to him. He says, "Oh well, it's I got to get better. I'll get better." And he was Kraft really defended me well that game, and everything is trying to get better.
And before we eventually hit a timeout, how can people get the book? I know I follow you on Twitter. Maybe let people know how they can find you on Twitter.
Well, yeah, they can. My Twitter handle is Coach Duels 113, and they can contact me. That would be the best way to get the book at CoachDuels71@gmail.com, because what I'm trying to do is make the book as cheap as possible. I have a website that's US based because I had a company in Indianapolis publish the book for me, and this $20 book would be $41 once it got to their house in Canada. So if they contacted me I would send them, I would get it out in the mail to them the next day. And I think that's what I'm trying to do with the involvement with the NPA and North Pole Hoops is this is such a great audience nationwide. And I just got back from Vancouver. I did a talk in Vancouver, and I just want to share the story. Yeah, I'm trying to sell books, but more importantly, I'm trying to find sort of the next Steve Nash, the next Kevin Pangos, the next Andrew Wiggins, like all these kids. They shouldn't be after those names. They should be after being the best that they can do, and that's one of the things I try to point out in the book. And the story is amazing. So all parents out there, I'd love to be able to share for your sons and your daughters to help them be better basketball players.
Sholayak attacking the rack here in the nation's capital, the battle in the capital. They're going to call that a goaltend. Fofo coming back with the pin. Again, this is game 2 of an entire 5 days of basketball up here in Ottawa. Again, Jason Tom here alongside Chris Dooley, the author of the book Can't Miss, the Kevin Pangos story. A story near and dear to my heart as well. That entire Pangos family from Holland Landing, just north of Toronto, really a success story. An entire basketball family, right?
Absolutely.
Coaches, players, Patty, pulled down boards for, was it McMaster back in the day?
That's right. Hall of Famer at Mac.
And then, of course, Kayla doing her thing as well. And then, do they still have the family camp going on?
Yeah, they still do. They're doing very, very well with that camp. It's growing. And Bill's actually, now that he's retired at York, he's doing some Holy smoke, sorry for interrupting myself, but that guy's going crazy.
Sholayak from the Parliament buildings. You know, he's thrown up a couple of air balls today, but he seems to have found his legs as the Notre Dame Hounds have now pushed it up to 83 points. I think Coach Huffman's going to have to call off the dogs at some point. Ayak, kick out, 3-ball. Cash once again talking to Coach Huffman. He said the legs weren't under him, but they certainly are now. The dogs are off the chain. Chris Dooley, thank you for joining us. And again, can't miss the Kevin Pangos story. Make sure you check it out. Coach Dool's on Twitter. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I've admired you for a long time. We've stuff back in the day, and good job doing this too.
I'd love to be a part of the community and everybody that's involved in it, because it really seemed, you know, everybody's in it for the right reasons, and I know you're the same. So thank you very much.
Okay, thanks for having me.
No problem.
Bembry handling it. Cross court to Pangos for 3, and Kevin knocks it down.
I read a book called Outliers, and it talked about why people need people around them to take advantage of in order to succeed at the highest levels. That same summer, Kevin was chosen as the youngest member of the national team. Kevin might be an outlier. Kevin was playing for A-Game Hoops, which is a team that Kyle Julius ran, and Kevin was on the team as a high school player. And I was coaching at the University of Guelph, and Kevin was lighting us up. And I'm loving this because I've loved Kevin since he was a kid, but I'm also hating it because we're getting drilled by this team. And Chris leans over to me and says, "That guy can't miss." And I went, "Title." Because it says about what Kevin's life's about is whatever happens to him, he just rolls with it. And we all need to learn from that. A failure is just a part of success, and that's the way he really...
Pangos will shoot another 3, his 3rd triple already.
I'm a...
86-46, the Notre Dame Hounds pulling away in this 3rd quarter. It's been a 28-11 run here in this 3rd quarter. They've done it with some highlights. Just Sean Henry now getting a rest on the bench, had it going, and Sholayak as well. But this is the Hounds that we expected to see from the beginning of this game. Sholayak, oh, don't do it to him. That seems to be his spot of late. Back the other way. Ooh, nice fake dish finish from Ty McNaham.
That's our points.
Yo, their point is their point. Yo, fix it, fix it. It's a numbers game. Run it. We know. Sure. Sure, just get a lead. Hey, Gabs, get up the lane. Don't hug. Dicky, get up. Get up.
2:14 to go here in the in the 3rd quarter. Second half action here between the Notre Dame Hounds out of Wilcox, Saskatchewan, and Halifax Prep, representing the Maritimes. Halifax Prep still battling despite the score. Ayak. No foul call there. Fofo, definitely some contact in the follow through there.
How about Sholayak heating up a little bit from distance?
Make you forget about those air balls from the first half yet, E?
No, because we just saw another one.
And Sean Henry really came out with a solid 2 minutes there while I was talking to Chris Dooley.
He's got an awesome book. I've read it. You know, I know the story from before it happened, but you know, him writing it reaffirmed everything that Kevin Pangos is about. The fact that he's playing the highest level basketball right now in Europe
and tearing it up,
doing an excellent job.
And that's what I was talking to Chris about. I think, you know, and I know Kevin still has those dreams of the NBA, and that's great. I mean, you know, you talk to Carl English right now, and he still has dreams of the NBA at his age, and that's fine. You don't want to ever take that away, but man, you can go overseas, play basketball in some of the most beautiful places in the world, get paid good money.
You got a 6-figure contract for several years. You're going to be playing up to 10 to 15 years.
Still have an opportunity to represent your country, both internationally and on Team Canada. It's just an opportunity for us to let all these kids know the NBA is a great goal, but this game of basketball can take you so many places. You know, use the game for it to take you to places that you never thought you'd get. And it all comes from hard work, dedication. Kevin Pangos had that. And we see that all the time with special players here in the National Preparatory Association. Brandon Muntu now, time winding down in the third quarter. Corner three, no good. 94 points for the Hounds through 3 quarters. Stay with us. We'll be back with fourth quarter action. First day of the battle in the capital. Thank you for joining us on NorthPoleHoops.com.
Has to back out. Now he's got a little space to operate. Nice pass. Wow. Oh, what a nice pass.
Kevin read a book called Long Shot, a story about Steve Nash. I can connect it with Steve's story a lot, not comparing them, but just the whole idea that when Nash won the MVP, the next day, his first MVP, the next day he says, now I really have to prove myself. And that's what the good ones do, is they're constantly striving for better and better and better. And you know, kids that are grade 9, grade 10, they're very good, but they're just starting. And they need to understand that you're good, but you're just starting, and just never be satisfied. Keep working. And I think that that's what Kevin really, really taught me in writing the book, is about how it's never be satisfied. Just keep going. And that's what the can't miss philosophy.
Rep by rep, you push yourself. Effort is only half the battle. Doubt sets in. Why do you do it? Is it worth it? The lights turn on. All your questions are answered.
Fourth quarter's just underway here. Halifax Prep trying to work out the kinks here. They've still only played a handful of games together, trying to get themselves together as a team, while these Hounds returning so many players from last season, adding some key pieces as well this year. Really tough first test for this Halifax Prep squad, but that's a nice finish by Ryan Toney. Basket and the bump, going to the line, looking for the three-point play.
One of the biggest things that I'm looking to learn about this Halifax Prep team is how they counter this kind of defeat. What kind of energy do you come up with after a game like this? Speaks a lot on the character, speaks a lot on the mental toughness.
And they're going to have to turn around and play a GTA Prep squad tomorrow. But you have to think, though, Halifax Prep may have the upper hand in that game for one reason. They're going to be hungry after this loss, and GTA Prep's going to be coming off a long drive up from Toronto. Brandon Muntu finishing in transition.
Love the fact that these guys are still playing defense. Try to make this game a little bit respectable. There's Cole Newkirk on the finish.
Coach Adam Huffman has called off the Hounds, or his main 2 Hounds, who he let off the leash in the first half of this game, and really it was Deshaun Henry with an amazing 2 minutes to start this third quarter, followed by Sholayak just going off. And there's a big-time 3, Noah Leto out of Sylvan Lake, Alberta, shouting it out for the frigid temperatures out there right now.
And it wasn't even close to this type of roster last year. You didn't have this many guys coming off the bench and producing and contributing.
Ryan Toney, never shy with the trigger. Tony just got a little ahead of himself there. Lost it out of bounds. 7:53 to go. Just a reminder to you out there, we start up tomorrow at 12:30 in the afternoon. These Halifax Prep 7s will be taking on GTA Prep. Then Will Russell's Crestwood Preparatory Academy takes on Rothsay Netherwood. But a tough loss in the first game today against BC Christian Prep. And at 4 o'clock on the floor taking on SJK, who have some guys who can light it up on that roster. SJK out of Kitchener, Ontario, and Halifax Prep not going away. Cairo Berry looking for the three-point play. And tomorrow at 5:45, Central Tech versus LBA. Another team I'm excited to watch. So many returning guys, and you throw a little Okai Jamgoos into that, and that's
special.
Well, that's some destination viewing there tomorrow at 5:45.
Special. A lot of people don't see it with Okai Jamgoos. I have had the pleasure of evaluating him for over 3 seasons, and he puts on at every level. He's been to several high-level environments and camps where he's produced, where he's proven to be one of the best. Actually, I'm going to put it out there. Okai Jamgoos is the best shooter regardless of class. How about that? Regardless of class. The best three-point shooter that there is in Canada, period.
Mark it down, Dotto. So that's the sked tomorrow. 5 games starting at 12:30. Got a little taste of everything there. You're going to have a little AJ Lawson action at 12:30. A little Shaheem Malcolm, who put on a show for RNS. Almost triple doubles, along with Kellen Tynes in that first game. Both of them flirting with triple doubles. Malcolm almost had it with steals. He had 8 steals in the game. Then you get to watch Deshaun Henry and Adif Falar and Adate again take on SJK. SJK with the leading scorer in the NPA so far this season, a couple 30 spots from Branko Damjanovic. That's a reason to tune in there. And then Central Tech and LBA, we just talked about LBA, and they're taking on Central Tech, and you know Kevin Jeffers' led squad is always going to bring it in a game. And then at 7:30, the host, Canada Top Flight Academy, the defending champions, taking on BC Christian Prep. There's a reason to watch every one of those games tomorrow. We hope you join us, and we hope you stay tuned with us. We'll be back. 6:15 left in the 4th quarter.
Everyone has their story. What's yours? Were you born with the ball in your hands? Or were you a late bloomer? Are you a dead-eye shooter? Or a high flyer?
Throws up an alley-oop! All elbow! Williams!
Are you a leader? Or an elite role player? North Pole Hoops wants to know, what's your story?
NPH events. There's an opportunity to get involved at the ground level. NPH hosts elite level high school tournaments to national club team championships throughout the course of the season. Now is your chance to get involved.
Brendan Muntu at the line. Cash is the first. The Hounds have just been over the century mark in every game that they've played this season. They're over it now with still 6:15 to go in this fourth quarter. Coach Huffman has called off his main dogs. Still a really good opportunity for this Halifax Prep squad to play different competition. So far, they're winless on the season, having lost twice to Rothsay Netherwood.
On a well-balanced squad like this, the team's gonna, you know, especially with the schedule that they got going on, there's gonna be a lot of opportunity for some of the guys that don't really get a lot of minutes in big-time games to really play and prove themselves to Coach Huffman.
That was Brendan Mutu to Cairo Berry in transition. And you know, at this point, you just try to win the quarter, right?
Yeah.
And that's what they're looking at. They're just trying to win this fourth quarter to build off of something in order to be ready to go for their game tomorrow morning. Cole Newkirk with the standing block. Diaz Legron checks in. Guarding the inbounds right now for Notre Dame is Wyatt Hoax. The dual sports star is really shines on the lacrosse field, if you can believe it, which you can if you look at the build of him. And here he is in transition. Couldn't handle the pass. Pull up, three, Muntu, no good. Newkirk pulls it down.
So that means you don't dribble, you set it up. Can you insert it, please? Yes.
Tony inbounds.
Diaz up! Diaz up!
Barry looking to set up the offense. Throws it up, no good. Muntu. Tony back up top. Johnson got hit, no call.
Cole Newkirk tries a strong take. A little bit off the mark, but he'll get himself to the line for two.
Interesting call there. No call on this end.
Yeah, Johnson definitely got clipped.
And then a late whistle on this one with the team up 41 points. .440 to go in the fourth quarter. Back the other way. In transition. Diaz Legron cashes it in.
And I remember last year Diaz was waiting for his moment. This season he's going to get a lot of PT. These guys are going to be able to build some pretty strong leads that will allow other guys to get off the pine for the Hounds.
Ryan Tony. Nice interception there, just couldn't keep the tippy toes in bounds. Halifax Prep still battling. Muntu, kick out. The kid from range. Silence from the broadcast crew on airball number 11.
Can't take it anymore. Ill-advised shots.
The scout beside me is fuming.
If you're not taking those in practice and you're not making them with confidence, you shouldn't be shooting them. But if your leading scorer, Brandon Muntu's taking them, you go make sure that if he does happen to miss, that you're rebounding and cleaning up. Really like what I'm seeing from Johnson, though. That's the bright spot for Halifax Prep.
Landon Dickey checking in for Notre Dame. Intentional foul, putting Logan Rousson on the line. CLBA head coach Angelo Provenzano here scouting out the Hounds. That's going to be a marquee matchup on Friday. Got the camera out as well. Body's hitting the floor. Doesn't matter if it's a 38-point game with 3 minutes to go. Both teams still battling it out all the way to the end. Coaching chances in every aspect, no matter the score. I was hoping Elias was looking down at his keyboard at that time, but no, he caught that one as well. Watch for the air ball highlight pack coming at you on Instagram tonight. You wouldn't think that one team put up 106 points if you'd seen all those tossed up.
As of tomorrow, there's no excuses for anybody.
It's the travel legs right now.
That's not a problem.
It's a different gym.
We'll let it slide.
It's the sight lines. Big thank you to Notre Dame High School and Canada Top Flight Academy for hosting us here. This will be the only opportunity we have to have this many teams from coast to coast across Canada in one gym until the Nationals. That takes place February 28th to March 4th. End of February, beginning of March, where we will crown for the second time a national high school aged champion. Once again, the National Preparatory Association, the only national high school level basketball league in Canada. We made history last year. We're doing it all over again. Stepping in for the steal. The kid, coast to coast, but Avery Hutchison says, Kazandre, you got some time before you can bring it into the rim like that, kid. That's the future right there, man. Opportunity to get some PT.
Valuable minutes.
Absolutely.
Valuable minutes. You can learn a lot in this environment.
Hey, man, we were just talking to Chris Dooley about the Kevin Pangos story, and I remember Pangos checking into that Canadian national team, senior men's team at the age of 16 years old. Set a new record. That was Leo Routens, who had previously held that record as the youngest player in a senior men's national team game. Then the head coach of that team putting in Kevin Pangos to break his own Canadian record, passing it on to the next generation. That's what it's all about. 1:05 to go here. Brandon Mutu, nice no-look pass to Tony for two. You've seen glimpses with this Halifax Prep squad. They need some time. They need some time to gel.
They need more pieces, man. They need a lot more size. That's the biggest thing for this squad. They lose a lot on the glass. They lose a lot on the offensive boards. Second chance opportunities is something that they're going to allow from a lot of teams naturally, just with the, the lack of size, lack of strength in the post to seal and box out.
There's Tony getting the bounce. He's been pretty consistent for Halifax Prep. The Sevens in their first season together as the MPA continues to expand. Got to play all the way to the end, folks. 108-74, the Notre Dame Hounds, as we close out East versus West. Day one of the battle in the capital. We thank you for joining us. We'll be back live tomorrow, 12:30. Halifax Prep taking on GTA Prep. AJ Lawson, the top player in his class. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you tomorrow on NorthPoleHoops.com.